He's joining us this morning live from our studios in Durban. Mnelisi, good morning. Mnelisi, rather, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. Many people, when they hear about your story, they just wonder, how did you do it from a convict to a lecturer? How has this journey been?
Good morning, Dan. Let me just begin by saying thank you for inviting me in your studio. With regards to that, you know, in life we make some choices that we think are good for us, but sometimes we tend to miss the plot and do things that we wish we had done differently. But if we're going to dwell on the past, we may even forget what is the opportunity that we have for our future. Even though I knew that at a very young age I had done wrong, and I had accepted that I had done wrong, and I changed the perspective at which I look at things, and I began to have a good perspective of life, and I set objectives in life, and I knew what I wanted, because the biggest thing that I was mostly a culprit of is that I tried to fit into a place where I was not fitting. The issue of peer pressure and so forth, but the peer pressure was not a problem. What was a main problem is that I did not know what I wanted with my life. So immediately when I entered into Westville, when I was sentenced into 2 years, I knew that I wanted to actually go back to school, because I was arrested when I was doing my matric. I just started my matric and I was arrested. And when I went to Usethubeni School, I just dwelled onto education because I knew that it would take me far.
Okay, what wrong did you do? What crime did you commit? Just tell our viewers.
Okay, the crime that I committed, it was housebreaking and theft in 2008 in March. And I was incarcerated at Westville Prison. And I was sentenced there, and I asked for a transfer to Westville Prison because I wanted to actually go to school. Even though I knew that perhaps there was something that I did wrong, but I had actually allowed myself to repent and also tell myself that as a young child, perhaps sometimes we go through these areas of doing something which are wrong, but I mean, one could actually do something, but not realizing the effect of the thing that he's doing without no guidance.
Yeah, your parents must have been very disappointed at the time, a young man of 17. But looking back now, your family and friends around you, what you've achieved and what you're doing, I'm sure there's a big sense of pride in your work.
Yes, to be quite honest, you know, especially growing up from the township, you know, where an area where crime is something which is accepted. Which is a culture, because within some of our township, crime is something which is accepted. But seeing you go into prison and changing your life and coming back and being an inspiration to others because of the academic excellence that you have achieved, even though my mother was very disappointed at the beginning, however, she allowed that I was a child, I was young, but I was young and I repented. And now she's happy seeing that I'm living a very prosperous life.
Now, what made you choose marketing? I mean, you are dressed like a marketer. Man, you got swag there. I can look at you. I wish, you know, you really got it together. What made you choose marketing?
Basically, it's because when I left the prison in 2010, I got a job at Stutterford's, which is a fashion clothing retailer. And I was doing marketing. I was a salesperson for 4 years. And later I was promoted to being an ambassador of the brand. Thereafter, I decided in 2014 that no, as much as I got this job, which is good and it gave me much exposure, but I am lacking one thing, which is academic. Right? So hence why I went to school and chose the discipline that I already had background on. So that's when I ventured into marketing.
Okay, well now, you, among other things, you're also an academic student advisor, sharing your story, which proves really that we all come from different backgrounds, and as young people we can make mistakes, even as older and adults we can make mistakes, but those things should not determine where we go in life. Where next now? What's next for you?
Basically, I have this vision. My vision is a vision 2022, which is I want to obtain my doctorates in marketing and economics. So that's the vision that I have.
So your life going forward with a PhD is in the academia world?
Yes, I want to be in academic world. However, I also want to actually start some programs whereby I'll go into communities and alert them about the crimes and just give them and share my testimony, because I believe that going through these experiences was not only to benefit me, but it was also to benefit the youngsters that are thinking that crime is something which is acceptable and something that is relevant within their journey of growing up.
What an inspiration. Wish you well with your Vision 2022. May you achieve that PhD and carry on being an inspiration and a role model to many young people in South Africa. Thank you very much, Mnelisi Xaba. What a story.